All right, everybody, welcome back. We're in Lightroom and we have just imported our first set of images from our camera cards, and we are in our library. And here are all of our images, and you can see at the top left-hand corner the task that we were watching is complete, and we have pictures. But before we go touching them and exploring all this space with all the bells and whistles, I want to reiterate something to you. Okay, we should be working in a catalog that is named something like Intro to Photo 2020.lrcat, right? This is our Lightroom catalog that we created in the first set of videos that I posted in Module 1. Okay, so make sure that you've done that. You've imported photos into the right catalog. Now, before I start editing things and going around in here, I want to show you guys something. I'm going to go ahead and go up to Lightroom Classic, and I'm going to quit Lightroom Classic. All right, I'm going to close the program. It's going to say, do you really want to quit? And I'm going to say, yeah, I really want to quit. I'm done. My photos are saved, and as you can see, I've ejected my camera card, or actually Lightroom ejected it for me after it was done importing. But my studio backup, my external hard drive, is still here. And if you are working from a folder on your computer itself, no external hard drive, then of course it'll still be there. But regardless, I closed Lightroom because I want to show you how to start that catalog again from now on to make sure that you're starting the right catalog with all of your images you've imported. So again, I have created on my backup hard drive a folder, right here, that says Intro to Photo Class. And you can see down here inside that folder, I have my Lightroom catalogs, my DNG originals, and my JPEG exports. All right. Now, in my Lightroom catalogs folder, if I open that up, there is another folder that Lightroom created that says Intro to Photo, which is my catalog folder. And there inside that is my actual Lightroom catalog file. So when I want to launch Lightroom with that catalog, I can just go to that location on my hard drive inside my folder and double click it, and it will launch Lightroom. So if I double click this, Lightroom will launch with the correct Lightroom catalog. That's one of the easiest ways to launch Lightroom with the correct catalog. Now, some of you might go to programs or applications, or you might have put it down here on a little toolbar. And if you click Lightroom Classic like this, right, it might open it up, and it might open up with the correct catalog, or it might open up with another catalog, right? So mine opens up with Intro to Digital Photo because that was the last catalog I used. But if you have accidentally saved a second catalog, or you've decided to make multiple catalogs on your computer, you want to make sure that you're working with the right one, because if you have multiple catalog files going around, the images that you're wanting to reference, remember, because catalogs are referential systems, might not be there, right? The catalogs remember where the photos you want to be in them are. So I need to make sure, I'm going to quit Lightroom really quick, that when I'm launching Lightroom with the right catalog, okay? For me, that's going to my backup hard drive that I've plugged into my USB port, going to my Lightroom, to my Intro to Studio class folder, and then going into my Lightroom catalog folder, and then going to Lightroom Catalog 2020, Intro to Digital Photo, double click, right? Now, there are other ways to do this. If you're pretty computer savvy, you could always just launch Lightroom, and even if the catalog didn't show up, you could go up here and say Open Catalog, right? And there's a shortcut, Shift-Command-O on the keyboard. And it'll open up a dialog, and you can use the dialog to navigate to your hard drive under Locations, Intro to Photo Class, Lightroom Catalogs, Catalog 2020, and then double-click that again, right? Same thing, different way. It's like two different doors that lead to the same room, all right? Just make sure, whatever you do, that you're launching the catalog that you need to be working in for my class with the photos that you need, all right? That's simple. Now, one more thing I want you to notice. After we imported our photos from the last video, wherever we're doing that at, which for me, again, is on my studio backup external hard drive. It could be in a folder on your computer, wherever you put it. For me, that's on my studio backup, inside my Intro to Photo class folder, and then I have these three folders that I made, right? My Lightroom catalogs are all in here. We know that now. And then under my DNG originals folder, If I click that, look at all these pictures I have now, all right? Dog walk, 30. Dog walk, 35. These are all the photos that I imported. These were my NEF Nikon RAW files from my camera card. And when I told Lightroom to convert them to DNGs and then save them to my DNG originals folder on my hard drive, now they are here, okay? Now, I'm not going to ever move them from here because my Lightroom catalog that's in this folder references them from here. So I need to make sure that I don't go in here and I don't open up these images one by one and move them around like this, right? You might be tempted to do that because that's what you've done in the past, but please refrain from doing that, right? Leave them there. That is the original vault of your original pictures and let Lightroom reference them, okay? So from now on, just leave them there. And if there's ever an emergency, like Lightroom crashes or whatever, and you need to go get them, they're there. But we don't need to touch them right now, right? Because we can just go ahead and go to our Lightroom catalogs, launch our Lightroom catalog folder, and all of our pictures are being referenced in our catalog, all right? I hope that makes sense. Again, that's discussing the fact that Lightroom is a referential system that references our images from the location that we put them in. Okay, so let's get started talking about the Lightroom catalog, okay? Here we are, we're in our library tab, right? If you don't see that at the top of your screen, and of course you can make Lightroom full screen like this, right? Or you can make it a partial moduled screen like this, right? But if you do not see these tabs at the top, right, hover over this arrow, click it to drop it down, and you have all these different tabs, all right? Or today we're going to be talking about library. In the next video, we're going to talk about develop. Okay, these will be where you will be spending 99% of your time. And in this class, in a remote environment, it will be mostly all of your time. So let's talk about the library tab. Think of library as an organizational place, right? In a real library with books, everything is organized and labeled and in a nice, easy system for us to find. Right? Think of your library as the same way. Any image that you import into this catalog folder is being referenced by that catalog folder, and you can organize these digital representations of your photographs in this catalog. Now, again, let me reiterate, these pictures down here are not your original files, right? They look like your original files, but anytime you move them or rename them or edit them, the originals are still back here on your hard drives in the folders where you put them, okay? Just remember that. Anything we do in Lightroom is not permanent. That's the beauty of shooting RAW and editing RAW files. DNGs are universal RAW files. So whatever we do in here, it's not permanent, all right? So let's take a walk around. On the left-hand side, okay, we have a quick navigator that helps us sort of visualize parts of our image, and we have some collections folders, some things that we're not going to worry about right now, okay? But our catalog right here lists all of the different types of digital folders and labels. So we have all photographs. So far, I have 43 images from my last import, all right? All synced photographs, 0. That's referring to images that are being synced from another location like the cloud, right? We'll talk about these other things later, but if this bottom one right here says previous import, that just visualizes whatever you imported last. And since I've only had one import, my previous import and all photographs are exactly the same, okay? Underneath that is folders. You can visualize the folders on your computer, real locations on your computer, and see what's in them and drag things into your library and import them if you want. We generally won't be doing that though because we're importing from our import menu down here, all right? We're going to talk more about collections a little bit later, but this is just a way to sort of make virtual folders that are labeled like dog walk or the color red or whatever we want. We can make a virtual folder that saves sort of virtual copies of our images in collections, right? So it's sort of just like another folder that we can copy our pictures to so that we can organize them, all right? But we're going to talk more about that later, and we're not going to be using publishing services in this course, okay? Now, again, because we're in the library tab, you have your import and export options down here. Obviously, whenever you want to import more photographs from your cards later, you would just go back to import once again. All right. What I want to do now is I want to hop to the middle here, right? This is where our photographs are. So if we single click on a photograph, it gets highlighted in light gray. All right, and I can move around, click on another one. If I double click on one, it makes it big. All right, look at this award-winning face by my buddy Nash here. All right, so now it's large. All right, well, how do I get back? I can just click the escape button on the keyboard, or I can hit spacebar and zoom in to 100% to look at the detail. My focus was off. I missed his money face. All right, hit the spacebar again, it zooms out. I can click escape and it goes back to my grid. Also, another way to do that is down here, grid view, full size view. All right, this is comparing two images. Okay, so now I have two images selected. So let's say I wanted to put two side by side, like this one and this one. If I'm down here on this sort of film strip, I can click my first one, and I can click the command button on my keyboard and select two. I can click and drag. There's different ways that you can organize these. So I encourage you to play with these, all right? But this is just a basic way of visualizing images, okay? I'm usually using my grid view and my full screen view in my library, okay? The next thing I want to talk about is labels. Now, you'll recognize right here this little scroll that says thumbnails. This just makes our thumbnails bigger and smaller so that we can see more detail in our thumbnail list or less. I'm going to make them kind of big so that you can see this, okay? So as I'm scrolling through here, I have all my images that I've imported. And if I hover over one for a second, you'll notice that there's some things that are around my picture, okay? I have arrows, right? Built-in standard size previews for all photos with embedded previews, right? I'm gonna click cancel on that. You don't wanna do that right now. That's just going to bog down your hard drives, right? So don't worry about that. I can rotate my image by clicking these arrows, right? Here's one here. Here's one here, right? Rotate your photos really quick. Right here, this little gray square that you can barely see, it's giving you guys colored labels, right? We have red, yellow, green, blue, and purple, okay? And we have these 4 dots. What are these dots? Well, these dots are star labels. These are different ways that you guys can maybe rate your photographs, right? Let's say you're going through your pictures and you're like, these ones are really good, these ones are really bad, I want to delete these. These are different systems that you can use to rate your photographs. And then in a minute, I'm going to show you how to visualize those, right? We can just see 5-star or just see the color red. Now, there's a quick way to do this also, right? If I'm on a highlighted picture in light gray like this, right? And I want to maybe give it a red label, I can click the number 6 on my keyboard. Just 6 gives it a red label. Number 7 gives it a yellow label. Number 8, green. Number 9, blue. And number 0 goes to stars. Okay? 0 stars. Now, the number 1 on your keyboard gives it a 1-star. Number 2 on your keyboard gives it a 2-star, 3-star, 4-star, and the number 5 gives it a 5-star. And again, if I click 0, it sets it back to 0. If I want to remove the color, I simply click that number again. Okay? So if I've labeled it green by pushing the number 8, I can just click it again and it takes it away. Or the long way, clicking the box, setting green, clicking the box again, unsetting green, or go down to none. Up to you. All right? These are different systems just to label your photographs quickly. I use them to sort of say, okay, my first draft is going to be 2 stars. These are the best. And then I go through my 2 stars and I say, these are the best of the best, to give them 3 stars. Okay? So take a moment, go through some of your pictures, maybe double click them, look at them large. And you'll notice that when you double click your photograph and when it's really big like this, you have the option to star them down here larger. 3 stars, right? Awesome. You can rotate them here. Great. So there's some other options here that I'm going to talk about later. But that's all I wanted to say about that. And again, if you want to click the escape button, it takes you back to the grid view, or you can just come down here and click to grid view like this. Okay, so keep that in mind. So at this point, maybe go through and give your images some labels. So I'm going to go ahead and go 1 star, 1 star, 1 star, right? Again, to give it 1 star, I can either hover over the image and click on the first dot, or I can click on the image and just click the number 1 on the keyboard, and it gives it a 1 or a 2 or a 3, depending on what you want to do. Again, 1 through 5 on the keyboard is a star, and 6, 7, 8, and 9 on the keyboard are colors. And then 0 sets your stars back to none. Keep that in mind, okay? Also, another little shortcut. On your keyboard, the bracket keys, which are the 2 keys to the right of the letter P on your keyboard, increase or decrease the rating. So it's kind of like counting up. If I click the right bracket or the close bracket, I go up. And if I click the left bracket, it goes down, right? Sort of similar to clicking 1 through 5. Now, if I click the command button or the control button on a PC, the command button on a Mac, and I hold that button down and then I click the brackets, is a shortcut key to rotate my image. Left bracket, while holding command or control down, rotates counterclockwise. Command or control holding down plus the right bracket, the close bracket key, rotates the image clockwise. So this is just another keyboard shortcut. There are lots of keyboard shortcuts in Lightroom. There is a list of them easily found with a quick Google search. If you are the person that I am and you like keyboard shortcuts, I would encourage you to look them up, and you can actually even program your own if you are that into it, which I personally am because I feel like it saves me a little time in my life. So hopefully you have starred and labeled some images that you want to see sort of by themselves now. Okay, I got a couple of 1 stars, things like that. I got some colors. Here's a couple of reds. Let's see, set it to red, set it to red, set this one to red. Okay, so now I have some things that are starred and some things that are color labeled. Well, let's say I want to just look at those by themselves. If you come down here, right, and again, if you can't see any of this, maybe hover over the arrow and click the arrow. It will bring up some options down here, okay? To the right, you have your filters tab, and mine is set to filter and then filters off. But if I click the filter right there, it brings up all these options. Okay, now right now my filters are set to off. See, it says filters off right here. Well, what I can do is I can go to rated or unrated like this. And when I click rated, it'll only show me images that I've rated. Rated means with a star. And I can control here which of the rated images I see. So right now I have a 3 star and a bunch of 1 stars, and then I have a couple of red. So if I only want to see 3 stars, I click here. And it only shows me rated images of 3 stars or higher, right? That's why all the other ones have disappeared. So if you're looking for your images and you're like, I know there's more pictures here, I can't see them, maybe it's because you have your filters set to only visualize rated images at a certain level. As I go down to 2 stars, nothing changes because I don't have any 2-star labels. But as soon as I click the 1 star, boom, pictures. Here's all my 1 stars, all right? Now let's say I click on the red box right here. Then it only shows me 1 stars that are red. But what if I click this star off? Right? Then it shows me everything that's red, right? These 2 that are 1 star in red, and this one that's also red, but it doesn't have any stars because I'm only visualizing red labeled now. And you can see that it says custom filter, all right? So there's different ways that you can visualize these filters, okay? I would encourage you to explore these a little bit, take a look at them, read up on them. I'm not going to go through them all. I really only need to use stars and colors. That's all I need. And occasionally I'll use flagged images to delete a bunch of them. I'll just flag the ones that I hate and then click to visualize just the flagged images, and then I'll delete all the flagged ones to get them out of my hard drive. But really, out of all these different kinds of filters, for me personally, I only really use stars and colors, okay? And if you ever just want to go back to all of your photographs, all you have to do is come over here to this drop down, scroll down to the bottom, and say filters off. Okay, right here, excuse me. let's see, filters off, boom. And then all the filters that you had running, doesn't matter. Here's your starred ones, your unstarred ones, your colored ones, your uncolored ones. I turned the filtering off so that I can see all of my photographs. Now, over here on the left-hand side, there is a folders visualization, and occasionally people will do this. They'll have previous imports selected right here, and it'll say right here, previous import. So some people will be like, I know that I have 500 photographs in my Lightroom catalog, but I'm only seeing 43. That's because right here, it's showing you your previous import. Okay, so you can click here and go to all photographs, and it'll show you all of them. So right here, we can see them in a grid, and right here, we can scroll through them, okay? Something that also you can do is you can make one of these visualizations large, and then down here, you can just scroll with the keyboard using the left and right keys, or even the mouse, and you can scroll back and forth and visualize them full screen like this. And here I'm just scrolling through. So when I'm in my library tab and I'm going through my imported photos, and I'm just quickly trying to flag stuff saying, this is a good photograph, this is a great photograph, this is a horrible photograph. So I'm going through, oh, I really like that one. That one's really great. 3 stars. I'm gonna hit it really quick. 3 stars. Keep going, right? Ooh, 2 stars, right? Oh, set label to red, right? So I'm just going through my film strip down here, and I'm visualizing them up here by just going through my keyboard, and I'm just clicking my arrow keys, and I'm letting this full screen preview just show me what's going on and labeling them as necessary. Okay, now I'm gonna wrap it up about here in a second, but really quick, we haven't addressed this side. Now we're gonna, in the next video, tackle developing and exporting images. Developing, let's think of as editing, right? Adjusting, right? Right here in your library, you have quick develop, and you have all these other things, okay? I want you to ignore them for now, and that's only because it's gonna overcomplicate your life. Quick develop is kind of just like applying certain edits to a group of images all at the same time, and that's great if you just wanna do it really quick, but I really want you to get an idea of what it is that you're doing in the develop module first before you start hitting quick develop. So I want you to just close this right now and close all these other things, and don't worry about these, right? Right now, just use the library tab for importing images and labeling and organizing them. Under collections, we can create a new collection by clicking this little add button here and create a collection, and we can label it something like dog walk, right? And what we can do now is click create, and we can add photographs to this collection. And you'll see right here that all of a sudden it creates this new view where all my photos are gone, except for the one that I started with. And I can go back to all photographs right here, right? And anytime that I want to add a photograph to dog walk, like let's say this one is add a focus shot of my dog cat, and I can just click and drag that to dog walk, boom. And then when I click dog walk, there's 2 photographs. It's just another way of visualizing the images in your Lightroom catalog. And you can see here, when I'm highlighting that, it says down here, dog walk. The other ones are gone, right? If I click my grid, it's only 2 of them. But right here, I can click this and go back to all photographs, and boom, they're all there. So they're never gone really, right? It's just ways of hiding and revealing them. All right, so that's what our library is really predominantly for, is just you organizing and labeling them, okay? So there's a little bit more to it than that, but that's where we're gonna leave it off right now. And in the next video, we're gonna talk about the develop module and finally exporting things for web. So stay tuned. Thanks, guys.